All right, just want to do a quick video on sniper trading because whoever sent me this, thank you. I mentioned that I wanted to trade like a sniper, like these, American rebels against the British Redcoats in the Revolutionary War. Look at all these Americans hiding behind logs. These guys are hiding behind trees. These guys haven't even fired yet in their sneak attack when the British are out of, ammunition trying to fight these guys are going to come in. So the British are just screwed. And this is how you have to try and trade. You have to hide behind trees, use your small forces to your advantage. And in that sense, your small account, because most of my students have just a few $1,000s and you have to utilize that. Many people look at it like a disadvantage. Oh, I only have a few $1,000s. I have the PDT rule. Oh, I can't make, 5, 10,000 in a day. And the people with big accounts, I have several students like that, and they need to think like a small time trader. If you have a $500,000 account, which several students do, they get too greedy. They want to make 100,000 all at first. And the way that my millionaire students and I have made our money is small trades. Aim small, miss small. Okay? I know it's frustrating. I know you want to go big right away, but you have to resist that urge. As I was telling Steve Harvey last week, it's all about $10 here, $100, maybe 200, maybe 500, and you grow that, you get used to earning a few $100s on a trade. Then as your account grows, you can take bigger positions, you do the same trade, and then maybe you're making 600 or 1,000 on a trade, and then 2,000. And every now and then you get a great setup like these supernovas that I catalog in my DVDs, and you can make 5, 10, 20,000 or 50,000 or even 100,000 or even a million in one day. There have been many penny stock traders who have done that. It's not every day, but there are lessons every day, whether you're trading or whether you're just watching. Remember, you don't even have to trade every single day, okay? Picture like these Americans, okay? This is such a great analogy, it's crazy. These guys are waiting until the British get in this, little trap zone right here. They're not just going out in the open firing whenever they want. That's the equivalent of somebody who trades, Facebook or Amazon every day, and they're trading these $100 stocks, and they're like, look, I made 20 cents a share on a $100 stock. Look how easy this is. That's scalping. That's bullshit. That's going to lose you a lot of money when you're wrong and it goes too quickly against you. I've seen it too many times with a lot of scalpers. A lot of other teachers teach to trade every single day. You take these 5, 10-cent gains. Hey, every now and then I take a 5 or 10-cent gain, but it's because the stock didn't do what I want. Or, in this case today, I took roughly a 10-cent a share gain on a 50-cent stock. So it's a 20% gain. So I'm excused for that. But usually I'm aiming for something bigger because I want to be like these American forces where I only want to fire when I see the whites of their eyes. There's a Bunker Hill analogy, okay? The Americans fought off the British in Bunker Hill. They didn't have enough ammunition, so they could not just take shots all the time, okay? The British was a huge empire, huge funding, so many men, and yet the Americans somehow won because they conserved their ammunition, and that mentality made them push harder and made them think, when can you take the shots? When is the best time to take your shots? And that's what I want you to do. So today, I had my best day since I started this small account, making nearly $1,000 on 2 trades. Nothing huge. I didn't time either of them perfectly, but I waited to take my shots. I took them, and I profited. And now my $12,000 account is closing in on 15,000. So again, nothing huge. Everybody on Wall Street will look down. Oh, he only turned 12,000 into 15,000 in a month. Well, you do that over time. You take bigger bets eventually. Sometimes I lose, early. If you look at my video lessons, excuse me, from early 2016, I had margin issues. I had free riding issues. I had the PDT rule. Guess what? I held this stock overnight, so it doesn't count against the PDT rule. So I only used 1 day trade today, and this was an overnight trade. So you need to utilize whatever ammunition you have. And AVXL, for all the hate, I mean, there's a lot of people who hate AVXL, right? It's at 453 right here. Why do you hate this stock? Why are you shorting this? I understand you think it's junk, but it has a solid base here in the mid 3s, and it is proven that it can spike again and again and again. I understand maybe if it spikes up a lot, like yesterday, it spiked up a ton, from 4 to nearly 5. Okay, this is a good time to short, as it turned out, but also just because no matter, that there's solid support in the 3s, Now it's spiked up a lot. But today, I don't understand why people are shorting this in the 420s and the 430s. There's so much hate. They're like, it's junk. It has to go down. It doesn't have to go down. Junk rises sometimes. Junk goes a lot further than you think. So I was dip buying this yesterday in here, and I want to show you this chart because this is pretty important for you to see this. This is just a choppy chart, okay? So you can see some support here at 330, some support here at 350, some support here at 340. Okay, so 330 to 350, you can clearly see there's support. So why do I think that there's support at 4, which is the main reason why I bought? Let me show you another time frame. I like looking at multiple time frames to see where there's support. Support is not an exact science, okay? This is the 20-day chart of AVXL, so it's way down here. And you can see here, it bounced up from the 3s up to the 5s here and came down. Then it tried to bounce up to here to like, what is this? The top here is, call it 430, and right here it's 420. Then it tried to bounce right here at 406. Then it tried to bounce here at 419-ish. So for me, I want to see where all the resistance and support is. So there's clear support in the low 3s. If it ever gets that back down to the low 3s and it's not like bad news, I'm probably going to dip by it because it's probably going to hold that support. But also these failed little bounces right here, especially this one, because you can see there's nothing around this. For really the past 2 weeks, you can clearly see the top was roughly 415, 420. And it's not just a coincidence that yesterday, when it came down, what was the low? 406, and before 406, it was, 408 and 410, and it was already uptrending. I wasn't buying this here at 406 being like it has to bounce here. It had already bounced from 406 to 430, and I bought it on a dip at 420, and I'm using that support as my guide. And you can see here, after hours yesterday, it was uptrending nicely to the 430s. Today, I didn't wake up in time, but at 7:19 a.m. Eastern, it hit 450. I was selling in the 440s, okay? And even at worst today, it went down and it retested the lows here at 406. So at worst, I'm going to lose 15 cents a share. If somehow, I don't know, I can't sell or whatever. And that's acceptable risk for me when I'm buying a small position overnight. I can easily be wrong, as I'm wrong roughly a third of the time. And I might lose, I had a 1,500 share position, so I might lose, $200. But I did think that I didn't know that 450 would be the top. I thought that it could maybe not necessarily retest these highs, but the mid to high 4s is what I said in the watch list. And actually that's what happened. So today's high, if I had patience, which I'm not going to on my small account because I'm a sniper, but if I did, the high was 467. So 40 cents of upside, 47 cents of upside, and 15 cents of downside as it turned out from peak to trough. So roughly 3-to-1 risk reward. Now I know the company is junk. I'm not saying this is an earnings winner or something good, but if you want to dip buy something that has spiked a lot in the past, do it. And even now, it's 450. So you don't have to necessarily be as cautious as I am, but you should have a plan where there's like 3 or 4 or 5-to-1 risk reward. This very much reminds me of AQXP the other day, where I was buying this again at a kind of a not so obvious support zone, where you can see here that, as I said in the video the other day, 3 clear tops here at 1180 to 12ish. I'm not buying it at 1180 or 12ish because what if it's a quadruple top? But I was buying it, excuse me, right in here at 1140, 1150ish because it had held this little support zone right here. So I really look at like when failed bounces happen, and the failed bounce was at 1130. And as it turned out, it went all the way up to 1340. So there was $2 a share of upside. I captured 50 cents. Even now, it's at 1130. But at worst, it's 1077. So there turned out to be 70 cents a share of downside from where I bought and $2 a share of upside. No catalyst on either one. So I want to show you this because, you don't always need a catalyst. It's good for me to show you why I buy some of these speculative stocks. And as it turned out, I was really right on AQXP. I even underestimated it. But I grew my small account. Or actually on this one, I used my bigger account. But it was a trade that, I could have used my small account on. And on AQXP, or not AQXP, AVXL. They're both junk. But AVXL, I actually did use my small account, and I made a not so amazing, but a decent $300. This one was an even better trade, and this is a trade that all of you can do. Let's say you want to focus only on the best, like Tim, be more disciplined, ignore speculative stocks, ignore buying junk. Why don't you stick to what made you rich? That is buying earnings winners and shorting pump and dumps. Okay, I can take that route too. I'm pretty flexible. I try different trading ideas. So I know that I have a possible day trade today in my accounts. I have a day trade left. And MGT, Michael Good, thank you. It's funny that this is kind of your initials, but Michael Good alerted this in the Tim Alerts chat room. I think he was first. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of people, but I saw his because he's in red in the chat room, and he alerted that MGT was the new stock market leader pump. So stock market leader is one of the penny pumpers that can really pump up a stock right now, and so they did, and it went from 36 cents up to 57 cents. You don't know how far this is going to go, but you know that because someone is pumping it and they're getting paid to spike the stock, someone is paying them to spike the stock because somebody is selling into that. This is a pump and dump. Stock market leader is doing something that is very, very unethical, if not necessarily illegal, because they alerted the fact that they're promoting it in the disclaimer. But at the same time, whoever paid for it, I guarantee you, is selling into this. And that's why when there's a pump, there comes the dump. And whoever paid stock market leader, it's very gray area. But the good news is I'm not a lawyer. All I care about is predictable patterns. So when you see a pump like this, and you see a stock, really that hasn't had much spiking in the past, 3 years, it's a pretty good time to bet against it. And I did not time this perfectly at all. The top was 58 cents. I shorted it at 53 cents. And I just had a small position. Interactive Brokers had shares to short. My goal, again, I don't normally aim for 5 or 10 cents a share, but when it's a 50-cent stock, it's all about trying to make a few $100 profits, which I said in the alert. And it dropped from 53 pretty much from the get-go. It had a little bounce here, but not much. And, I covered in here in the 40s. And I didn't have to. It went all the way down to 32. So theoretically, I could have made 20 cents a share. I could have made $1,000. But again, I'm not in this for perfect shots. This is me. I'm this guy. Okay? If I hit this British guy, that's cool. If I don't, I'm going to hide behind this tree and reload, and then I'm going to try and hit this guy. So you aim small, miss small. And that is what I did with this trade. Made nearly 20% in under an hour. So many other people banked. I got to give props. Too many people these days. I forgot to do a video lesson yesterday. It was just crazy. But people who were trading like a sniper in my chat room, TJ made nice $400. VCU made a nice 20 cents a share. FIFO dude made $500 in 30 minutes. Term made the first trade with the challenge and made roughly 10%. Baon Hawks made a nice $1,000 on EYEG. EYEG was a runner the other day. So I'm reviewing today's runners. But here's EYEG. Yesterday was a big runner, or actually the past 2 days, on the long side and the short side. And you can play both sides. Michael Universe made a quick $120. Vexla, this was nice. Sold it at 450, 447. This student did better than me. I love it when other students get better executions than me. Like Bob Garrett, for example. He's been a great part-time trader for several years now. He's made several $100,000, and he covered MGT, and he made 10,000 shares, 9 cents, $900. Edward shorted at 53 and 48 and covered at 42.50, and he says, I'm amazed about the precision you have on your entries. Your reading of the market is amazing. Oh, thank you. It's not that amazing. It's just experience, and you will get the hang of it the more of these plays you see. You'll get a feel for it. And this one was a great trade that I wanted to highlight. Smoky Tree sold AVXL at 460 and 465. So he actually had patience, $1,000 profit, and he bought it at 430. So I don't know if he bought it today or if he bought it yesterday. It doesn't matter. The point is that he sensed that there was a bottom, he saw it, and he profited. That's all you have to do, okay? Again and again and again on the longs and the shorts. MGT is all the way back down. BOOT, this was another one today. This one spiked near the market open and several people caught it. You're looking at a pre-market. This was on my watch list, earnings winner. You see pre-market, the highs are like 684, maybe 696. So you see it coming down before the market open. But right at the market open, put a limit order right here at 7. Okay, when it breaks the pre-market highs, you can buy this thing right here at 7. There's huge volume. Buy 1,000 shares at 7, sell it at 720, 730, 740, or 750, and make 2, 3, 4, 500 bucks. I didn't give an alert. This is how morning spikes are created. Also, look at this. You have multiple dips where you can dip buy earnings winners. This is a little tougher because, you don't know where the actual bottom is. But I like buying, right at the open and when it breaks the pre-market highs. I did try to buy GOVX right in here at, what was my high? I think I tried to buy it at 13 cents. It's actually probably a good thing that I didn't get executed. This is a junk company. They say that they're going to have some solution for the Zika virus. They'll probably screw it up somehow. That's why they're a 10-cent stock. But I tried to buy it, and then I saw it kept going up. I wasn't going to chase it. If I did buy it, I would have bought it at 13 cents and out at 14 cents. And people would have been pissed. But that's the opportunity here, and I didn't get executed. There's also an opportunity shorting it. If you've seen Tim Grittani's DVD, you can short into morning spikes. And I should mention that my DVD, Spikeability, which I've been working on for the past several months, we just delivered another 3.5 hours to those of you who got the Spikeability DVD. There's now 6.5 hours on Profitly on your dashboard. And we sent an email, so if you got it, that's cool. But you can still go to spikeability.com. Here is the address, spikeability.com, and you can get it. This is, my newest DVD, and I think that it's very very useful. So watch the DVDs, get more comfortable with these patterns, and really think about being a sniper, saving your ammunition, only taking the shot when you have a clear shot, only when you see the whites of your eyes. If you're American, you get it. If you're not American, you probably haven't studied the Battle of Bunker Hill. But I have several millionaire students. They all happen to be American. That's not a requirement. They all have to be guys. That's not a requirement, okay? Anybody in the world, I don't care if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're from Asia, if you're from Europe, if you're from Australia. I have students now in over 85 countries. But you all need to take advantage of the opportunities when they come. And some people ask, Tim, you have thousands of students. Why do you only have a few millionaires? Because out of my thousands of students, as I've shown many people the stats, only roughly 15 to 20% of my students even bother watching these video lessons. So they're just trying to buy whatever's hot. They're like, just degenerate gamblers who want alerts. That is not the way to get rich. Okay, I know there's a lot of chat rooms out there that give alerts and there's no talk, it's just alerts. I don't think you learn that way, and I don't want to ever do that. So you'll see my alerts, I explain my trade, I explain my risk, I explain my target, I explain my reasoning, because I want you to learn from what I do right and what I do wrong, from what I see in a trade. I don't want you to ever follow my trades. I don't want you to ever piggyback anybody's trades for that matter. You have to see what successful traders do and look to learn how to plan your own trades. That is how my millionaire students have been created. And it's not easy because, it requires thinking and it requires time. And if you don't play every single day, guess what? It's going to take you a little while to build up your account. But what I have found, and this is going to cheer a lot of you up who I probably just depressed, once you get it after a few months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, it really starts to become much easier, because you have the path, you have the idea on every trade, you have the discipline. So all you have to do is work on getting to that path. You have to work on getting your discipline, find your groove, whether it's long or short, or long and short, whether you want to trade with 10% of your account or 20% of your account or 50% of your account. I never say go all in. I never say use leverage, but there's various amounts that you can use based on your own schedule and your own comfort level. You should never do a trade when you're not comfortable, okay? Look at this picture of these guys. This guy right here, look at him. He's hiding in the corner. He's not comfortable, okay? He's probably thinking about his daughter. He's like, oh, I don't want to leave this world. Like my daughter depends on me. And his best friend here is like, okay, you little wuss, sit back and I'll do the firing. He's not ready to fire. That's okay, okay? I hope he survives the war. But, or maybe he, grows a pair and actually starts fighting because he realizes, wait a minute, if he doesn't start firing, his daughter will be dead too. So there's different reasons for firing and different reasons for trading, but do it when you're comfortable. Okay, that's what this is all about. If you want a paper trade and not use real money, that's okay. You don't get all the experience and the emotions and the psychology of it, but if that's where you're at, it's fine. You know, in the beginning of my teaching, I was like, no, do not do that. You learn nothing. I've become pretty open to seeing what works for different people. And every single one of my students, every single one of my millionaires has taken their own path. But the key is that you keep studying, you keep watching for plays, and you try and do the best that you can. And you stay in the game. You don't want to lose like 90 to 95% of traders. You don't want to blow up like a lot of gunslingers do. You wait for the right shot and you take it again and again. I'm going to go do a webinar right now. I'll see you guys in a bit.